Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Now is the time to get your butts in gear because we have the pocket change market report. Coins are flying all over the place on eBay, and you can make some serious money today. The sense of urgency in this video couldn't be any more stronger. We're approaching summertime. You guys need some summer cash? Now's the time to look for these coins today. A lot of newer coins, a lot of newer issues starting to come out. 2025s, we've talked about before. New double to dies, new mint errors being found all over the place. Now is the time to really turn into this fun hobby that we're all enjoying right now into that next level. Something that we could all be a little bit more passionate about. Something that kind of introduces what we call the element and the thrill of the chase. Wow. A lot of great stuff that we're going to talk about today. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. It's May 21st, 2025. Again, I'm your host, Sean. We are going to be looking at these coins from the last 48 hours of realized sales straight from eBay. It's going to blow your guys' mind what we have found for you here today. In addition, all the coins talked about, none of it's graded. Why grade your coins? Keep that money in your pocket. The easiest direction to the sale, to more money in your wallet, into your bank account, is just to sell it raw. Go ahead and post images. You can do it while you're in your car and you found this coin that was given to you by your barista or at the bank, whatever the case may be. Sell it immediately. Post it up when you can and make the sale. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our channel sponsor, Whatnot. They have been absolutely amazing to help me along in my crusade to become one of the trusted coin people out there. We do shows every single week. We have another one coming up this Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. This is all tying and leading up. That is going to be a huge summer giveaway event. That's going to take place in June and July. Come join Whatnot right now, and we're going to give you the skinny on what we're going to be giving away. And by the way, it's going to be a couple $1,000s and some prime stuff. We're talking Garrett AT Pro metal detector that's worth $550. We gave away one of those last summer with a host of other awesome supplies as well. You like gold panning? We're going to give away a gold panning kit as well. QR code right on screen. Go ahead and get joined up today. You know, you're not joining for nothing. We're giving you $15 off your first item. That must account for something. That's a hell of a discount, folks. If you did not want to use the QR code, have no fear. We got the links down below in the description box and pinned to the comment section of this video. Join today and don't look back. It's going to be the best thing that you could do for yourself. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump in. Lots of selections. If you're at a coin show, look out for some of these as well because you can buy them for cheap, flip them, and cash in huge. 1955 Benjamin Franklin $half. I would say one of my favorite obsolete type coins because they're still affordable, but some of the varieties and errors that you could find from this coin, huge impact on the secondary market. People are paying up huge amounts of money. It's paying back massive dividends. This one right here is what we call the Bugs Bunny Die Clash. It's a well-known cherry picker's guide variety. 1955 is the most common year for this particular die clash. There are other Bugs Bunny coins on various other dates, some a little bit more rarer than the others, but you know, we kind of have to start out at that low bar. This is it. 1955 Franklin $half is that coin. Now, this particular one right here is not perfect. It's got some contact marks. I would say technically it's either an AU, an about uncirculated example, maybe a low mid-state grade, but nonetheless, check that out. The die clash will look like Bugs Bunny teeth. My personal opinion, it looks like vampire teeth on the 1955. This particular example, and just think about it this way. If you found this coin in just a bulk silver melt bin at your local coin shop for like $11, that is a heck of a score because this example sold just on eBay for $42.80. Think of that. Just converting $11 into $42 is one of the coolest magic tricks that I love seeing. I've done it quite a few times. You put in a little bit of the work, you're going to get the returns you deserve. And this is one of those coins, ladies and gents, that are quite common out there. You can find these. There's a lot of 1955 Bugs Bunnies that have yet to be cherry-picked. Now's your time to strike. Great coin to look for out there. Another one that we have here, 2003 Philly Roosevelt dime. Now this one right here is kind of funny because, at first glance, it's hard to see anything, one specific thing about the coin that will really grab you, okay? But upon closer examination, there's actually a die chip right there at the truncation of Roosevelt's neck. It's right between the neck and the Philadelphia mint mark. Now, this one right here, someone really clobbered the seller on this one. It ended up selling for $109.51. Other similar examples have sold for right around $5. So someone really wanted this one. But, it just goes to show you, you never know what you're going to sell and for how much. If it's collectible, if it's a legit variety or mint error, there's going to be a lot of association with that to whatever it sells for. All right, because that also plays into a little bit of the rarity as well. If someone's putting together a progressive die chip set of 2003 Philly Roosevelt dimes, and this is the one that they're missing that they've been looking for over 5 years, maybe they're going to cough up that $100 or more for the item. You just never know in this business. There are a lot of coins that maybe you and I don't see the associated value, but to someone else, maybe they do. It's not money wasted because they're buying something that they love. I just want to let you guys know that because there's a lot of naysayers, a lot of haters out there that feel like, oh, they paid way too much for the coin. Now, to me, it appears like they paid too much money for this coin, but in reality, there might be a better motive to it. Maybe, they just needed this particular coin. The next one that we have here, this is like one of my favorite America the Beautiful, the National Park series of quarters. This is the 2020 West Point American Samoa quarter. Okay, you guys remember the West Points that were released back in 2019 and 2020? They were kind of a big deal. It was one of the biggest circulation chases out there. I'm just glad that we lived in a world during that time where these things were a possibility. All thanks to our mint director. Say what you want to say about David Ryder. He was the main guy responsible for this program. Now, one thing that I could say, I've seen a few mint errors on these West Point quarters, and they could get pretty expensive. This one is quite minor, but I tell you, it's a mint error on a W quarter in which they only made 2 million of each design. By the way, this one has the V75 privy mark right on the left side of the front of the coin. Now, upon closer examination, right on the cheek, there's a strike through. Okay, it's not fancy, I'll admit, but at one point there was probably a ball of grease in that area on the actual die. So when it strikes up other coins, the ball of grease that's sitting on that die is more of an obstruction to fulfilling the full design of that strike. So it's going to translate into something that you see here, which is pretty much a hole in the cheek. So this one right here, under normal circumstance, without any mint error, is traditionally about a $20 to $25 coin, which by its own right is a quite nice, valuable piece. This particular one ended up selling for 73 doll hairs. $73. Which really turns it up, like 3.5x notches there. I mean, this thing is absolutely amazing. I've seen a few mint errors on these, and they just never cease to amaze. Don't sell yourself short, by the way. If you do come across a mint error, a strike through, a misaligned die on any of these W mints, make sure you ask the full potential of the market for them because someone will pay it. These things are just so insanely collectible right now. And then the further we distance ourselves away from 2019 and 2020, provided that the mint is not going to be doing any sort of similar promotion in the future, these things are just going to blow up. They're going to be expensive. They're going to be even more collectible. And who knows? Who knows how much these coins will be worth in the future. Next one that we have here, this is more of a classic case of, pay attention to what comes into your change, because you just never know where that nickel is going to turn into $20, right? Did you see the thumbnail that we put on this video? This is one of those perfect cases. 1981p Jefferson nickel. You have some strike through on the obverse there, right on the word God, right on the base of Jefferson's bust. Again, that's more grease than debris that was sitting on that die, creating kind of a mess on this coin. So this particular one ended up selling for $21.99. All right, so yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good payday if I say so myself. Again, we're waving a magic wand here over the PCMR. We're going to turn a 5-cent nickel into $22. How does that happen? Well, it's really the devil in the details. So if you're very perceptive and you catch these, then that is where it starts. That's where it begins. And that's kind of like the thrill of the hunt when it comes to this. The next one, image right here, is a close-up of the strike through. It is a classic case of that. It's not a contact mark or a hit, so I don't want to hear that. This is true blue 100% strike through. The next one that we have here, 1965 Washington quarter. Man, it's got a really straight clip there on that right side. If you wanted some more confirmation of whether or not this is a legitimate mid-error clip, just look on the reverse. Right over the word United, you can see actually a Blakesley effect. That's the flattened edge opposite to the side of where the clip is. That's important. When you don't have that, it's kind of tough to really say for sure if this is legitimate or if it was like a garage done kind of affair. This one right here, 100%. This one ended up selling for only $15, but again, we have a coin that has a face value of 25 cents that now all of a sudden is worth $15 to a hardy collector out there. And that, my friends, is how you make a few bucks in the process of enjoying this hobby. Here's another great one here too. If you've been to one of the many local coin shows, whether they're smaller local deals or one of the big regional ones like an A&A or World's Fair of Money, you could possibly find something like this, because guess what? Dealers miss things as well. We have an 1882 Indian head cent. This one is actually in really nice shape, a nice higher end coin with some color on there. But most importantly, this one was recognized for it being one of the many snow-attributed varieties. This is actually the S11, which is denoted by the broken eights. They also call these the crab pincher eights among a few of the Indian head cent collectors out there. But you have the broken eights on this one. You're going to find some of these with just one broken eight, but the one you want is with the dual broken eights, where it's incomplete at the top. And because of that, we pretty much see a coin that's worth right around $100 if it's uncirculated, to one that sold this past last 24 hours for $245.98. That is a heck of a flip. And again, it further exemplifies the possibilities and the potential by really, truly just, looking for these and then flipping them when you can if they don't fit your collection. The next one that we have here, 2020 Philly Lincoln Shield Cent. This one is quite minor, but this is, again, more of a classic case of turning a cent into $10. And that's exactly where this coin sold at. So you're probably going to be asking me, okay, why did it sell for $10? It's 1 cent, in my humble opinion. What makes this one special? Well, again, it's in the finer details. If you got that jeweler's loop and you like to carry it around, then, you're going to be able to monetize off of that one piece of equipment by recognizing this little die break right on top of the shield here. This particular one, again, selling for $10 in a simple buy it now type of listing. It's not a waste of time. $10 to a lot of people doesn't seem like a whole lot, but how often do you have the opportunity to turn 1 cent into 10 cents or $10? All right. And then let's further kind of expand on that. Let's say if you had a full BU roll of these coins and you found out of 50 coins, maybe 15 of them, that's $150, right? So again, just throwing out there the possibilities that these do exist, that they are out there, and that, there's going to be collectors for every archetype of mid-error or die variety. You just have to believe in your ability to know that these things do exist. The next one that we have here, another great one. Now, in spite of the fact that this thing, has some road rash on the reverse, what we see on the obverse is really the big deal. Right on Lincoln's face, fully obliterated, is actually another strike through. At first, I always thought, oh yeah, this one is post-mint damage. It's a contact mark. Then, as big of a crater as that is on the front of the coin, and if that coin took a hit hard enough to create that crater, you're going to see the push through the metal on the backside of the coin. Guess what? We don't see that. We see a lot of nicks and dings and scrapes right along the rim, but when it comes to that strike through, that is the real deal. So again, the devil's in the details here. This one, could have done a lot more. It ended up selling for $16.24. What held it back, obviously, is the condition status of the coin. It is considered post-mint damage with a mint error on there. Kind of sad to see, but, it is what it is. You have essentially saved the coin from further oblivion, and now it's going to go to a collector who can't appreciate it for what it is. The next one that we have here, one of my favorites. I'm a big Civil War token kind of aficionado. I love the New York Broas Pie Baker Civil War store cards like this one here, 1863 dated. What I love about these is just crazy terminal die state on both the obverse and reverse. On the obverse, you have the shattered die. On the reverse, you have the amazing die clash that sometimes will go along with more die cracks or cut die breaks. This has been one of the big fan favorites out there, even if you don't collect Civil War tokens. This one ended up selling for $158.96 with 23 total bids accumulated to that amount. Next one that we have here, someone had made mention, okay, and I was going to take this as a quick little jab from someone out there on one of my previous PCMRs. Oh, maybe we should call it the off-center market report because you talk about off-center coins so much. Yeah, well, I kind of do. And if you guys have stayed in tune to the market, there's been a lot of off-center coins that have been selling here, that go back many, many years, even decades. So these are quite popular. Roosevelt dimes getting all sorts of attention right now, due in part to the announcement of the redesign for 2026 for the semi-quincentennial event. So now people are paying a little bit more attention to Roosevelt dimes. They're even paying a little bit more money than they used to prior to that announcement. So we have a very tough date, 1974D Roosevelt dime off center by about 50-55%, selling for $36. And that's with 13 total bids on this one. Very attractive coin. Again, the likelihood that you'll find this in change is going to be very minimal, but your best bet is to cherry pick one of these in a kind of like a dealer, cheap bin or something like that, some bin that they're going to have a lot of carded 2x2 coins, and they're just going to be kind of like bargain coins. Most coin shops that I go to have these, so for something like this they might have listed for $5. That's going to be an easy, quick flip. Maybe they just don't want to deal with the hassle of flipping it themselves, or maybe they don't have an eBay account, which sucks for them. But it's going to be an opportunity for us to see that. Next one that we have here, we do talk about currency too. It's one of my favorite subjects. 1995 $1 bill. Something is definitely missing on this one. And it's going to be all the overprint stuff, the serial numbers, the district seals, things of that nature. So where'd it go? Did they just forget to print it on this note? Well, you would have to flip the note over, and guess what? Oops. They printed it on the back of the sheet. All right, so this particular sheet was backwards, and then all of the obverse overprint, what they call the third print process, was actually applied to the back. So there you go. Oops, that's a huge BEP mistake. And, that actually is something that we as collectors and cherry pickers can cash in on. For example, this one ended up selling for $204.48. Yeah, might I remind you that's 204 times face value? Where else are you going to get that kind of crazy returns on something like this? Yeah, let that sink in. There's not a whole lot of other things in this world short of a lucky, miraculous Bitcoin kind of investment where you could turn around this kind of profit that quickly. 1952S Lincoln Wheat Cent. All right, a pretty cool one here. So yes, there's a couple scratches on the obverse. So obviously it's a coin right off the rip that has issues. Flip the coin over. Look on the left side of the reverse, right around where it's 9 o'clock position, if we're using kind of like clock hands. But you're going to see another cud, a cud die break. So a piece of the die, just through general wear and tear, had cracked and fallen out. And when it strikes coins with that empty cavity on the die, will fill in that area during the strike. All right, so we always have a raised blob anomaly that starts at the edge of the coin and goes into the design, as you can see here. So this one sold this past couple days for $34.12, 11 bids. Here's a great example of a retained cud die break or a pre-cud on a 1941S. So we're going to look at the reverse of the coin again. Right around this time, the 3 o'clock position. By the way, where the wheat stocks are is a very weak spot on the die. And that's why we see a lot of die cracks and things like that in this area because of how busy it is in relation to its proximity to the rim. So this one right here, the die had cracked, but it hadn't completely fallen out yet. So we have a little displacement. We have that crack that we can follow from one side to the other. And, another great sale here. These are recognized on a website called cudsoncoins.com. This one sold for $18.45 with 3 bids. Again, if you overlook these, you'll never know that you have something that's worth nearly $20. It's always good to look at both sides of either your coin or your bill or whatever you're looking at, so that way you don't leave these details to waste. Next one that we have here. Now, anything off-center struck, any sort of mint error on statehood quarter series is actually quite desirable. A lot of people are collecting or they're trying to find mint errors on every single state, and it's coming up to be kind of a challenge for a lot of them, especially when you get beyond like 2005, 2006, where there's just not that many mint errors on those later dates of statehood quarters. So we have a 2000p South Carolina that's off-center struck by about 10-15%. Very attractive, nice, high-grade coin. This one ended up selling for $40.02 with 12 bids. So that's a really good sale there. And then further kind of like letting you guys know that the market is very long and strong on things like this. If you do come across it, save it, because you know that you're going to turn that 25 cents into something much larger. And we also have this one here, 2005 Denver, Oregon, this time around. Guess what? We've seen a few of these. In this video specifically, this one has another great looking sized strike through right on the obverse of the quarter, obscuring a few letters of the word America right there. So again, that's a ball of like hardened grease that was sitting on that die. So another great one here, selling for $19.99. Again, we just took this quarter and turned it into $20. Again, we're seeing a lot of magic tricks, and guess what? David Copperfield's not even in the house. David Blaine said, sorry, I can't make it for this one. You're on your own. And guess what? We're able to kind of fulfill that kind of requirement for the PCMR, because all we do is make magic here. Another great one here, 1977A $1 bill. This time, the overprint is on the front of the note. It's just they did not do a good job, plumbing it up, exactly how it needs to be. They call this a misaligned overprint, okay? And really simple. The sheet was probably a little bit tilted off kilter there, thereby leading to the result you see here. Now, obviously, it's going to affect more than just one singular note. It's going to be all the notes on the front of that subject sheet that are all misaligned. I'm sure a number of them were discovered through the quality control process, and they'll take those out to put star notes in its replacement. Although you just can't help but know that maybe a couple of them have escaped, like this one here. By the way, it's such a great looking note. It's in nice condition, probably like a high-end VF into XF condition territory. This one here is sold for $149.99. 150 times face value. You gotta love that. All right, well, candy half dollars are pretty hot, especially with mint errors. Are as gnarly as this 1983 candy half dollar broad strike. This happened as a result of a malfunction collar. The collar is a die in itself, and it's kind of like a donut. It keeps the coin in place during the strike. So if something's wrong with that collar, guess what? You're going to get a coin that's going to be struck much larger because all the metal flow is going to continue to go outwards. It has nowhere to stop, and usually that collar is what does the trick. So this one here is selling for $116.84 with a pair of bids. All right. I am not at all surprised because, any sort of mint error on much larger size denomination coins are always very, very expensive and quite valuable. This one right here is a true testament to that. So we didn't have full obverse and reverse images, but we do know that this is the American Samoa National Park Quarter 2020 Philadelphia with a big strike through right on good old Mama Bat's face. Although this is like one of the smaller strike throughs that you could find on this particular quarter. They were all actually quite liquid in today's market. People are still collecting these even 5 years later since release. This one selling for $54.51, which again just blows my mind because everybody's been paying $50 to $75 a piece for one of these smaller blind bat strike throughs that you see here since the beginning of time. And then the much larger ones I've seen for $300 to $500 on the regular as well. So people are still finding these through casual roll hunts. I would say keep on searching, especially if you're on the East Coast. These things are a huge stack of cash when you do find them. Oh man, this thing is awesome too. 2010 Denver coins getting a little bit of love this week. Jefferson nickel with a nice long strike through. It could be a detached lamination from another coin. It could be a piece of wood. The possibilities, they're out there. And there was something sitting on the die before this coin was struck, leaving this kind of really cool looking mint error out there. Again, you just never know what you're going to find. Just casually hunting through not only your kids' piggy bank, but maybe your own piggy bank, or maybe the piggy bank at Bank of America. You just never know. This one right here sold for $16.83 with 5 bids. Again, another one, another win logged in there. You take it and then you run and you never look back. Speaking of which, you know what's a really good win? When you could find a nice large lot of coins that you buy for cheap. And then the idea is that you take each and every single one of these coins and then you relist them back on eBay as buy it nows. The idea is you're going to try and 2x your money, if not more. There's a lot of potential here in this one. This is actually a lot, I believe, of 18 off-center strikes or broad strikes. And the only thing missing are nickels on this, but it's got pretty much everything else. So this particular lot sold for $204.98. All right, which is roughly about $11 per coin, which is good because a lot of these you could turn around and list for either $19.99 buy it now, $29.99. I can tell you right now there's a At least one Roosevelt dime that you could ask for like 35 bucks for. The 83 Washington quarter is going to be a really easy sell for right around 40, 45 bucks by itself. It's problem free too. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of ways where you could kind of skin the cat on this one and double up your profits. This was a really good lot, by the way, to invest in. Next one that we have here, this poor old Lincoln wheat cent, what they call a delamination, was probably at one point a clamshell, which is a type of lamination, but it's split on the edge, right? So it's like a clam. It has a mouth on the side. This one is just disappeared. Like it got helped along a little bit, and then they just ripped it off, which is unfortunate. You don't want to see that. You want to keep the lamination on there the best that you can. However, it did sell for $13.98, which again is not nothing. That is something, and the coin has issues. It's got corrosion on there. If it doesn't fit the profile of your collecting needs, go ahead and sell it, and then use that money on something else. A 1937 D Buffalo Nickel 3-legger. Hello, I thought people graded all of these. Not so. These are very well collected outside of graded holders, and the people that know about these and what it takes for them to be a legitimate die variety, will feel comfortable buying these outside of a graded holder. This one actually is really good looking. It's a nice solid VF, like maybe a VF 25, VF 30 on the best of days. But yeah, this one has all the hallmarks of a legitimate 3-legger. It's got the raised, what they call P line right underneath the buffalo's belly. It's got the massively deteriorated rear leg, and it's also got some of that kind of like die deterioration stuff on the back of the Indian's neck. Those are all hallmarks for a legitimate 3-legged buffalo. This one right here selling for $678 with a total of 55 bids. A lot of people were sitting there, they're just hammering away, chipping away at the bids. This thing sold for what is theoretically the full market for a VF25 example. And this is just a really good one to have of this type, It's probably one of the best looking 3-legged buffaloes of this grade that I have seen in a while. Next one that we have here, another great looking cut die break, this time on 81p. Jefferson nickel, look right on top of his head. That is not a hat, but that is indeed another die break that had taken its toll. This one right here sold for $49. Do I need to say more? Cuds are kings in this current state of the market right now. Prices are wildly consistent, and you should have no problem whatsoever selling these. Another cud. Boy, this thing is a cute little deal here. It's on the word trust. A small little cud die break on an 82D bronze Lincoln set. Really cool to see. It's been quite some while since I've seen this particular cud. A lot of them overlooked, and you can see why. To untrained eyes, that could be a rim hit for all we know. But this one right here ended up selling for $24.51. It's quite small and commensurate with the amount of money that it did sell for. And the final item for this edition of the Pocket Change Market Report, boy, we got to throw it in old school. 1817 cap bus half dollar with some pretty phenomenal die clashing. You also have that crazy looking spiked crack right above the cap there on Lady Liberty. I didn't have the time to check the Overton die variety number on this one, but I'm willing to bet it's pretty nice. But yeah, man, just a gorgeous early date federal age cap bus half dollar. I mean, these things are collected very well right now. People love them, and so do I. This particular one ended up selling for $460 with a total of 21 total bids. Beautiful, very outstanding. Love this coin. And that is an awesome way to end this edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for the 21st of May, the midweek edition. Again, just to clarify, the information in this video is for educational use only. Educate yourself, then you can make it financial. Not financial advice at all. Please collect and or grade your coins responsibly. And that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for this one. Ladies and gents, I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Another PCMR in the books. Man, we've been logging these and they haven't gone out of style. So I hope you guys are enjoying them. And so long as you're enjoying them, I'm going to keep doing them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to today's video and content. If you haven't done so, we would love the extra support from you. But I am out of here. Let this be a lesson. There are coins to be had out there. Be excited. Be incentivized to look for these and do what you want with them. You can make a really good collection out of it, or you could sell it and make it a really great side hustle. So I'll see you guys later. Best of luck in your hunts, and keep on collecting, my friends. So long.